everybody? I hope you are well. We are going to be really taking a journey together today. So if you are brand new, which we have a large amount of brand new faces, I welcome you all. I would encourage you to buckle up. I've been driving this bus with no sleep now for quite a while, and we just found out the brakes are out. We are headed downtown to a very busy section. When I say I'm driving this bus, I'm telling you right now, we are breaking it down today. And I hope Ann Taylor is watching. You just never know. I did find out one time that Kathleen Zellner actually watched 2 of my videos. So you never know when attorneys or defense attorneys are paying attention. Let's get started, you guys. So my thumbnail is not clickbait. Kaylee did threaten Jack in the last words on her phone in her little text messages, and I have it straight from Steve G's mouth. Okay? So we're going to be breaking that down, but we're really going to be breaking into what does that mean. All right? Because that could change things up. And would a breakup that happened 10 days ago, right? Think about it. They were together for 5-6 years, childhood sweethearts, went to school together. Their family swears up and down they'd be married today if she was alive. So there is an identity attachment, I kid you not, when you're young and you grow up with somebody. And now Kaylee's getting a new job, or has a new job in Austin. A big job. She's making great money. She's got a new vehicle. And it's been led to our knowledge that she and Jack, Kaylee and Jack, had come to the mutual decision she would take the dog with her. And so I was like, where did we get that idea? So this is what I found. It says Austin roommates Kaylee G. This is October 11th of 2022. And it talks about looking for a roommate to move in with me from February to June. I am coming from Idaho, so I am not familiar with the area, so open to living anywhere in the Austin area. I am a 21-year-old girl with a really sweet 20-pound dog. If anyone is looking for a place from February to June in Austin, let me know. So you can see from this, it backs up our theory that she was taking the dog with her. But as breakups would have it, what you start off with doesn't always go that way. Sometimes you start off, yeah, absolutely, you can have the washer and the dryer, and I'll take the refrigerator. And the next thing you know, you're like, those are my sandals. Because you're in a fight. I can tell you right now, somebody's going to hit me up. Stop screaming, lady. So I said it for you. I'm moving on. I think something did change because that was October and they had not broke up yet. So it looks like she was going to have something change to where she would no longer need the apartment after June 1st. And in October, they would not have been broke up because we all know it was a 10-day breakup. And if you go from the 13th back, that means Jack and Kaylee broke up on November 2nd. And maybe Kaylee wasn't going to have the dog any longer. And you're like, why would you think that? Well, I'm going to show you. However, this breakup had gone, even though we see them in the bar together that night, talking to each other. I don't think it was what it appeared to be on the outside to everybody else. I think it was a little bit more manipulative. I think there was a lot of spoiled behavior on one side or the other. I say that because of listening to Steve talk, listening to Kaylee's mom talk. Kaylee could be a brat. She could be a mean girl. They have said that out of their own mouth. And as they're walking away from the bar, we are all familiar with that whole conversation. They're going to get you girls for that. They're going to get you guys for that, right? Something along that lines. And we have, Maddie, what did you tell Adam? Oh, I told Adam everything. And we've always wondered, what did Adam find out? And if there was this huge breakup fight that none of us are going to be part of, to where they've had their words and so forth, my question is, had it been building, had frustration been building bigger and bigger and bigger? Because Dylan Mortensen goes there and begs Kaylee to come back for a +1 at the sorority. That's why Kaylee came back to Moscow. So this is a shot in the dark that she happens to be in town when these quadruple homicides happen. Exclusive G documentary. Shocking revelations and bittersweet memories shared. Now, I played it all the way through, the clip that I took first. And then I want you to really pay attention as to the body language and what words are actually being said. This is really important.
We're supposed to believe he just takes out 4 on his way to... It just seems like he...
Overwhelmed custody of the dog. Like, there's just part of Kaylee was leaving.
He was looking for every excuse for him to pick the phone up.
Yes.
To read those texts. Like, I
He
will
wanted
leave
him to
tonight
know.
with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing.
Oh, so yeah. And they, even when they broke up, they still communicated.
Yes,
it
every
sounds
day.
like
All the
it's
time.
like you know.
The whole time she
In
was
that
gone.
bar scene,
It was just a.
they were around him.
Yeah.
Not,
They
not
were-
Miss Jackson over here in the corner. No, she was around her ex, you know, and to me, that's comfort level, that's body language, this is the person that I'm comfortable in. I will
wanted
leave
him to
tonight
know.
with the dog if you don't pick up, that type of thing.
You know.
The whole time she
In
was
that
gone.
bar scene,
It was just a.
they were around him.
Yeah.
Not,
They
not
were-
Miss Jackson over here in the corner. No, she was around her ex. I will
wanted
leave
him to
tonight
know.
with the dog if you don't pick up, that type of thing.
She wanted him to
Tonight with the dog if you don't pick up, that type of thing. She was around her ex, you know.
Hey, Susie Q, did anyone state the threat that Kaylee made to Jack? If so, can someone share with me? Yes. If you didn't catch it, the threat. So they've gotten into some sort of communication that's getting heated. And we see that because as she leaves the grub track, all of a sudden, Kaylee says to Maddie, what did you tell Adam, who is Jack's roommate? And Maddie's like, oh, I just told Adam everything. Kaylee gets busy on that phone, texting. Now, if we jump in time ahead to where at 1:56 they get home. And I believe it's around 1:27, don't quote me, but around 1:20 something, Kaylee starts calling Jack's phone several times. She then also texts Jack. And you hear the mother and the father discussing what those texts are in this video. This is what Maddie is saying to Jack. Get ready, we're going to play it again. There has been a lot of texting going back and forth between Jack and Kaylee. One or a little insight into what that conversation is between that little window of texting before the homicides take place. And in that little window of texting, I'm going to play this again, what the family is telling you. Those last texts of Kaylee are to Jack. Pay close attention.
We're supposed to believe he just takes out 4 on his way to... It just seems like he...
Overwhelmed custody of the dog. Like, there's just part of Kaylee was leaving.
He was looking for every excuse for him to pick the phone up.
Yes.
To read those texts. Like, I
She
will
wanted
leave
him to
tonight
know.
with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing.
Oh, so yeah. And they even when they broke up, they still communicated.
Yes,
it
every
sounds
day,
like
all the
it's
time.
like you know.
The whole time she
In
was
that
gone.
bar
It
scene,
was just a
they were around him.
Yeah.
Not
They were-
Miss Jackson over here in the corner. No, she was around her ex, you know, and to me, that's comfort level. That's body language. This is the person that I'm comfortable in. I
She
will
wanted
leave
him to
tonight
know.
with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing.
you know.
The whole time she
In
was
that
gone.
bar scene,
It was just a
they were around him.
Yeah.
Not
They were-
Miss Jackson over here in the corner. No, she was around her ex. I
She
will
wanted
leave
him to
tonight
know.
with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing.
She wanted
Leave
him to
tonight
know.
with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing. She was around her ex, you know.
I mean, some people are going to be like, that's not a threat. I want you to remember, a dog is probably more important than a vehicle to men. Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie were fighting over a van, and she's dead. They were fighting over a phone. She's dead. I'm not saying that you have to change your mind. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm showing you that there is more to the story here between these two lovers than meets our eyes. We are only seeing still shots. This is the only time that we get a window into the conversation had. The last conversation that Kaylee ever had. And we're hearing it from these parents. Pitber EB says, I don't believe anything coming from Steve and his wife. How's come he's the only one ever talking? No other family members are talking. And I see he stopped wearing his hex hat, which has to do with Bitcoin. I will admit there's a lot of people that are suspicious of Steve having some sort of a debt, and that this was the price because he made the comment. Steve G said something to the along of the lines at some point where he's like, I paid my dues, and people are like, what do you mean you paid your dues? But that's another rabbit hole. Lucy Lou says, I took the dog when I left my ex. I mean, that can be very, very painful if someone threatens to take the dog and it's been predetermined that, you know, they're not supposed to take the dog, that you're going to get the dog, or you're fighting over the dogs. Right, Gemini65 says pets can complicate things in a breakup for sure. It bothered me a lot because to me, I was like, so why BK versus JD? Why do I feel that JD, in my humble opinion, makes a better suspect than BK? But I'll let you be the judge of all of it. November 12th, 2022, midday. The assailant is thinking every detail of this strategic plan to commit the crime of a century, quadruple homicide. This person is thinking of all the things, the scenarios that could possibly go wrong. Having driven past the location 11 times in the past, has this person done enough reconnaissance, strategically looked at the home? What could they have gained from only an exterior view? That rest assured they had all the time in the world to commit the crime with no one even thinking of calling 911. First thoughts of the assailant must be about the security of the intended target, which requires the assailant to know that the victim will be at a predetermined location at a predetermined time. The defense attorneys of the current suspect continue to state adamantly and assert that there is zero connection between the suspect and any of the victims. Zero connection. And the prosecution has yet to deny this. If we are to consider Brian Kohlberger as a suspect, we have a major problem with the very first box of securing the ETA, estimated time of arrival, of a victim at a destination. With zero connection to the victims, that would mean that the assailant needs to have eyes on the victims to track them, and their movements, their actions, and their final destination. However, if we again are to consider Kohlberger as a suspect, the location of the victims is unknown to him. According to Brett Payne's affidavit, page 7, the state asserts investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University WSU campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that footage indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. So the state would like us to believe that this suspect, without prior connection to any of the victims, no way to track them, doesn't leave his house until 2:44 a.m. and is going to walk in to a home and commit a quadruple homicide and has no idea who the occupants are or if there will be anybody home. The only thing that the assailant would know at that route would be that the house is going to be there. In a sense, the assailant would be entering the home blind. They would not know how many individuals, from 1 to 10 or more, were in the home. They would not know if anybody was awake or asleep or on their phone or ordering DoorDash. As fate would have it, the number rolled on the dice was 6 individuals in the home. 1 individual as an assailant against 6. Who would be the first to call 911? Surprisingly, the answer is 0. None of the 6 occupants ever dialed 911. As night grows near, the assailant must be planning strategically. How many cameras were on the exterior of the home? How many neighbors had door cams? How many cameras were in the home? What if there were survivors? What if survivors had used their phones? How do you secure not only 6 individuals, but 6 phones? No one can call 911 and no one can capture footage. Again, if we follow the state's narrative, the assailant, the suspect, Brian Kohlberger, would be playing this blind. The assailant would also need to consider the defense system within the home, within the victim's access, such as large predatory dogs. Would there be a large protective animal within the home? Or would there be several little dogs that would bark so continuously that it would rouse everybody in the house if they were sleeping? The closer the time got towards early morning of the 13th, where the 4 homicide victims will be found, the assailant would need to understand and have a clear resonation of what weapons are within the home. Would the intruder be facing someone with a mere golf club? Or could the victims have access to knives? Or would this intruder, this assailant, come face to face with an actual gun? How would he know? It would be a certain failed mission if this assailant showed up at a gunfight with just a mere knife. The assailant would not only have to consider if the person was armed, but if the person was equipped with experience and knowledge of how to defend themselves. Many women have taken courses of self-defense. If we are to accept the state's narrative, then we would have to also accept that they are suggesting that their suspect, Mr. Kohlberger, entered the home with no knowledge if the victims were armed. If this assailant had 1 particular target and 3 were collateral damage, then why would 2 be spared? To the best of my knowledge, the vandals had a home game which they won. The state has established that Mr. Kohlberger's vehicle at the time of this crime was displaying Pennsylvania plates, only on the back, no plate on the front. It's also been established that Mr. Kohlberger's vehicle is a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra. With the winning home game and heightened campus activity, we would expect that there would be also heightened law enforcement, whether it be the campus security or MPD, just to assure that the campus security was available if somebody needed help or if things got out of hand. The state's narrative at this point is that this assailant not only entered the home blind with no knowledge of the security on site of cameras, of animals, or if someone was armed, or if they would be able to call 911. The state's narrative is trying to assert and establish that Mr. Kohlberger would have drove his white Hyundai Elantra at night, very easy to see, with out-of-state Pennsylvania plates on a home game weekend with heightened security. In my opinion, what the state's narrative is lacking is that there is no self-preservation asserted by the suspect. Brett Payne's affidavit on page 12 establishes a quarry of the 8458 bone, and these returns did not show the 8458 bone utilizing cellular tower resources in close proximity to the King Road residence between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. The state would like us to assume that Mr. Kohlberger has shut off his phone. However, there could be many reasons why this phone is not receiving service. The phone may have simply run out of battery. The phone may have disconnected from the tower due to lack of service in the area, which many locals have reported. If we are to accept that there is only one perpetrator, then the question would be, why would the perpetrator bring along a tracking device that would literally leave a breadcrumb of digital information everywhere you went? Why would the perpetrator not park further away and travel by foot through the darkness, all dressed in black? Why would the perpetrator put their vehicle, very clearly a white vehicle with an out-of-state plate, during heightened security, right front and center in front of cameras? Most guilty parties, regardless of their IQ, are very aware of how to hide their crime, how to protect themselves from being caught. They'll lie, they'll steal, and they continue to self-preserve the best that they can. One thing they don't do is go into a blind situation and plan a huge, large-scale, quadruple homicide without a getaway plan. So, that was what I walked through. And I want your opinion. I hear some of you saying BK might not be guilty, but they feel like he could be an accessory. There are some of you that say BK is definitely guilty. There are some of you that say there's no way he could do it. But I will tell you this, in all fairness, every single soul on this planet is innocent until a court of law proves them guilty. So they are not guilty. In your opinion, they did the crime. That's really the truth. They're guilty in your eyes. But then that's really somebody that is prejudiced and has already decided before they've seen the evidence. And at that point, I say you need to really consider to be more open-minded, and I invite you to do so. But I also respect your opinion, and I would like others to do the same. Diana Wilkins says, did they find the food delivery eaten that Xana ordered, or was it not eaten? If it wasn't eaten, then was it the reason to go to the house to get, okay, the killing is completed? Well, and what was the contents of their stomach during the autopsy? That would help, but we don't have any of the information. Interior Family Studio nails it. You get a gold star, sir. You say this issue 2 is the actual knife or weapon was not recovered. Kim Barnier says maybe the killer planned on getting Jack D there and doing him in, so as to make it look like a crime of passion. That could be. Jamie says the question I have is, if BK didn't do it, how did they get his print on the sheath? Okay, stop right there. They do not have his print on the sheath. That's the problem. Misinformation. Brian Kohlberger's prints are not in this case, other than the prints they took when they arrested him. DNA is not a print. The DNA that is on the underside of the button snap actually is called trace DNA or touch DNA. to the best of my knowledge, the military refuses to use said DNA in a trial that would result in possible guilt. And the reason is because it's unreliable. In other words, it's kind of like you touch a banana, you throw the banana peel away. That garbage gets delivered in the dump, and somebody collects a murder weapon that's in the dump that is laying with the banana. Your DNA literally can travel onto that murder weapon by contact. DNA can actually be, they go get that knife out of the dump, and Jamie is being questioned, and she's like, I've never seen these people in my life. I live on the other side of the world. What are you talking about? And it's all because of a banana peel. Monday Members Day is coming up. So if you are excited and want to be in chat and you are a member of Starlight, I am preserving or reserving Mondays for you guys for our beautiful Starlights. So let's get into this, you guys. I'm so excited to show you all this. Diana Wilkins says, what if it was a light gray car the police were driving that stopped those guys for drinking? A lot of us are starting to wonder things, such as it looks like it has tinted windows. But anyway, let's stay to this. Brian K., again, no alibi, no injuries, no motive, no connection to any of the victims, a white car with out-of-state license plate, very noticeable at night, right? DNA found on the knife sheath, and no knowledge of the home. So I was looking at it, and I'm like, wait a minute. Jack D., let's talk about him. And you guys help me out here. Give me your suspicions and points, all right? And I'm going to share mine. No alibi. Everybody's like, Jack had an alibi. No, he didn't. He said Adam was his roommate, and Adam said Jack D was asleep. So who was Adam's alibi? Jack D. That doesn't work. That is not an alibi. That is, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. It's no alibi. No injuries. Just like BK had no injuries. Possible motive, we have an X, right? How many times have we heard about like this beautiful couple deciding to split up and then the woman's dead? I'm just saying, it wouldn't be a stretch. So we have a possible motive, the X. Now, Brian has no connection to any of the victims. The defense has established that. Jack D has connection to all the victims. Brian would have to drive a white vehicle with out-of-state plates on a very busy night, not as familiar with the neighborhood because according to law enforcement, he's only been in the area in the last few months, maybe 10, 12 times. Jack D can access that home without even being seen, except across the street. If he's all in black, he might not even be seen. And what's blowing my mind is they never said they found Jack D's DNA in the home. How is that possible? They share a dog back and forth. So the question would be then, would he automatically be checked off because his DNA would naturally be in the home 10 days ago? They were living together, or they were spending time together, or whatever. I don't know if they were living together, but they would have had a relationship. So did they just automatically check off Jack D from the DNA list? He's in contact with two of the victims just hours before the homicide. Brian's not, but JD is. Welcome, Doc Terry, to 1111 True Crime. You say, I truly believe out of all the potential people on the list, JD is the one with the most motive. Tiki Boo says, so if Jack D was asleep and Adam was asleep, how would they know the other was asleep? Doc Terry says, do you remember how SG looked at JD at the memorial service? I do, you guys. I've even got it on the list. Denise Dunbar, running towards Sigma Chi, were stopped by undercover cops. Y'all, those aren't undercover lovelies. Undercover are dressed like, you know, a civilian. Trying to look like they fit in. They're just a civilian. These are people that are all dressed in black in normal clothes, driving an unmarked car which according to all the statutes of Idaho that I am aware of, to the best of my knowledge, that's illegal as hell unless your director put you in that car. It's a big deal to get an unmarked car. Borke says, could Jack be the new Jack the Ripper? Woo. That gave me huge chills. Like right down my neck, my spine. Pit Brewer says, also allegedly, BK followed all these girls on social media. KG father said, so maybe BK could see their TikTok videos or IG. He followed them maybe. It is possible. We're going to find out a lot more when we go to trial. Susan Roscoe says other frat brothers went along and finished the fight with Ethan. And that is a huge theory that many people do have. True Sleuth Aaron says, fun fact, the button snap is brass. Brass degrades and destroys DNA within 4 hours. So how did any DNA get swabbed off the button snap when the snap wasn't swabbed for at least 12 hours after the crime? Ivan Poole says Elantra was only in a bolo as asking them to come forward because they thought they may have seen something, not a suspect vehicle, until the PCA came out. I wish I could pin two at once. That was excellent. Well, hello and welcome back, Diana Wilkin. You say, I hope Jack D. Adam, Jack White Hoodie, will be cross-questioned, I got tongue-tied, on the court chair by the defense. I do too. Deborah Martina Lewis says, I'm still sticking to my original theory. JD, DM, BF, EB, and Demetrius, allegedly some of the perpetrators. I feel one of the perpetrators was already hiding in the house somewhere while the verbal fight went on in the house. Woo. That could be two. You guys are brilliant, by the way. This is just, I learned so much. Let's get back into this. So, Jack D, no alibi, no injuries, possible motive as an X. Connection to all victims, whereas BK has no connection. He can access the property on foot. He doesn't even need a car. He could dress in black. He could probably get there. He parkours, but we'll get into that. His DNA allegedly not found in the home or not discussed. So is it just checked up as familiar DNA, and so therefore his DNA would do no good? He's in contact with two victims, Kaylee and Maddie, hours before the homicide. He received 10 calls or texts from victims close to the time of the homicides. One victim even allegedly had on Jack's coat when she left the last time she was on the cam alive. Intimate knowledge of the home, possible knowledge of the victim's door codes, and possible knowledge of the phone codes. Knowledge of the victim's whereabouts exactly when the crime took place. View of the victim's bedroom window from his home. The victim's father staring at him at the vigil. I had to add it, you guys. I had to. He was literally threatened by the victim, according to the victim's father, about taking the dog and leaving that night. We don't know what was a straw that could have broke someone's back, right? Everybody has a breaking point, they say. He is aware of all exterior and interior cameras. He is aware of interior security of the person in the home. He doesn't have to worry about other pets, even threatening big dogs, because his dog was spared and carefully secured, but poor human beings were slaughtered. So the person that did this obviously cared about the dog. Jack in the Box DoorDash arrived at some point. We don't know for sure that night, but I just ask you, is it a clue? The dog allegedly had 0 DNA on it. So I'm guessing only Jack D's DNA. And therefore, you wouldn't even have to bathe the dog because you're like, it's my dog. He lives 1 block away from the victim's home. His roommate is Adam. Victim told Adam something that JS suggested. They will get you girls for that. He is efficient in parkour, which allows him to access the upper balcony without using a door. Target would most likely be the first room entered, and Maddie and Kaylee were the first killed. Other than Kaylee, and this is the big one, all the other victims were not single. Only the survivors were single. Anybody other than Kaylee was in a relationship. The question is, was the motive not only jealousy of the target, which would be the ex, but jealous of anybody in a loving relationship because they feel like it's a lie and they destroy it? Dun, dun, dun! That's what I got, you guys. That's what I've got. Sandra Potter says, did he know that Kaylee was leaving after that weekend? I'm wondering if he did not know that she was leaving. And I'm wondering if Maddie told Adam everything. She's just coming to say goodbye. She got hired at a big firm. She is leaving. And let me tell you guys something. If she's keeping, if she's keeping it a secret that she's leaving and that she's taking the dog, and then she had a little alcohol and spills the beans that I'll leave tonight and I'll take the dog with me. So it almost seemed like he didn't know that she was leaving. And so she was like trying to get him over there so she could talk to him. And she's like, hey, I'll up the ante. If you don't come over tonight, I'll leave tonight with the dog. Forcing him to come over and have a talk through. So I don't know. It leaves a lot in the air. It really, that's why, okay, let's play this one.
He just takes out 4 on his way to, it just seems like
Over what custody of the dog? Like, there's just part of Kaylee was leaving.
He was looking for every excuse for him to pick the phone up.
Yes.
To read those texts. Mm-hmm. Like,
She wanted
leave
him
tonight with the dog if you don't pick up.
What I am showing you is a glimpse into the very last conversation through text that Kaylee had with Jack D. Keep in mind, they were talking at the corner club. Then they walked that grub truck walk. Maddie, what did you tell Adam? Oh, I told Adam everything. Oh, they're going to get you girls for that. They get to the grub truck. Maddie is busy doing her thing, but Kaylee doesn't even look up from that phone. She is texting, trying to cover something, trying to get backtrack on something, get ahead of something. She's on that phone. They split. Don't even give Jack Showalter a boo bye, nothing. Like, bye boo. Nope, never happened. They get home. Now you're about to hear that at 2:27 a.m., the last conversation that Kaylee G ever had, she texted right to Jack D. Listen to her father and mother, mostly the father, tell you what that text said, because obviously it had gotten into a heated conversation if she is manipulating Jack D this way. And it is. And I'm not victim blaming. I'm saying fact. That is an ultimatum. You come over or I will leave tonight and take the dog. Saying the dog and not Murphy really is distancing yourself from the care of the dog, and it's more personal to you. Okay? So this is what was shared. This is literally the actual messages that were shared. And it was literally minutes before the quadruple homicide. This is conversation.
We're supposed to believe he just takes out 4 on his way to, it just seems like
Over what custody of the dog? Like, there's just part of Kaylee was leaving.
He was looking for every excuse for him to pick the phone up.
Yes.
To read those texts. Mm-hmm. Like,
She wanted
leave
him
tonight with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing.
Oh, so yeah. And they even when they broke up, they still communicated.
Yes,
it
every
sounds
day.
like
All the
it's
time.
like you know.
The whole time she
In
was
that
gone.
bar scene,
It was just a.
they were around him.
Yeah.
Not
They were-
this Jack Showalter over here in the corner. No, she was around her ex, you know, and to me, that's comfort level. That's body language. This is the person that I'm comfortable in.
She wanted
leave
him
tonight with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing.
You know.
The whole time she
In
was
that
gone.
bar scene,
It was just a.
they were around him.
Yeah.
Not
They were-
this Jack Showalter over here in the corner. No, she was around her ex. I will leave tonight with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing.
She wanted him
tonight with the dog if you don't pick up. That type of thing. She was around her ex, you know.
Kim Barnier says Mr. G thinks Jack D is involved. Just listen to his tone. That's why I said really pay attention to the words that are used. Diana Wilkins says, I thought she said we share a dog together. She did. She did. She texted several things at night. We share a dog together. And if you don't come over tonight, I will take the dog and leave. Or no, if you don't come over, I will leave tonight and take the dog. There it is. Hey, Justice A to Z. Good to see you, lovely. Go out and check her channel out. She also is a true crimer and does a wonderful job on her channel. Make sure and check her out. That is a good question. Patricia Parker says, wonder what Steve would do if Jack D was in on it. Oof. Super Youper says, the G family needs to separate itself from the case and seek independent investigation. Rush Armstrong, welcome to A Little Lemon True Crime. You say, understand docs are sealed and there is a gag order, but if any of the people we think actually played a part in this, I'm positive it would be public and they would be facing charges. Well, I'm glad you feel so positive. I'm looking at Stickergate and I'm thinking, holy crap. It's just so concerning to me that allegedly the first responders of the Idaho4 case, the first two people that are investigating this crime actually were involved in Stickergate, where there was a demand to go to jury trial because of the fact that there was a minor allegedly questioned without any representation and even held back from his parent, as well as the two individuals that allegedly were the first responders in the case over here in Idaho 4 are the same two individuals that alleged for over a year, allegedly, that there was no video of the minor being interrogated. None at all. It didn't exist. That wasn't true. That video got produced, but then it was muted. No audio. Apparently that doesn't exist now too. So yeah, I'm happy for you, Rush, that you do feel very confident. I wish I did. I wish there were things in this case that made me feel confident. Hoping for answers. Haven't seen you in a while. Says, I can't wait till the gag order is lifted. Sean Collins says, what if Jack did them and then called himself on their phones? Boom! Let's pin that. I've always said just because somebody's phone was in use doesn't mean they were using their phone. Dollar Sterling, welcome to 1111 True Crime. You say Jack was to relax with the two girls sitting at the corner club chilling, never walked the girls to the truck, and never picked up the phone at any time. The fact that Jack did not walk the... Okay, wait. We have two Jacks, right? Jack D did not accompany the girls. Okay? That tells me he was distancing himself in a sense. Was it just to misdirect any type of suspicion his way? I appreciate you. I ask you, please love the channel. Give back and share your DNA on the like button. I love you guys. To the moon and back. Have a fantastic weekend. And yeah, do your thing. Bye for now. See you Monday.